What is up, you guys? Teller checking in for the recap of UFC Vegas 88. Some ups and downs throughout this card. We'll talk about it all. You guys know what we're doing. We're doing some matchmaking for the main card winners. We're going to talk about the bets we targeted, and I want you guys to let me know. Hit up the comment section below. How'd you guys do for this event? And I'm sure some of you guys are going to have a lot to say about some of the bets I targeted, and particularly one of them. Which had a controversial ending. But first and foremost, Marcin Tybura gets the rear naked choke in the first round over Tai Tuivasa. You guys, again, I'll talk about the bets that I realistically almost targeted or did not target. I'll keep it real with you guys. I almost had Marcin Tybura as an official play, and obviously I'm very upset with myself. I didn't. I threw some money on him. You guys know what time it is. At the end of the night, I'm throwing some money on him to be cash there, but should have made that an official play. I was a little worried that he was going to get clipped with an early shot, but I should have known that per odds, especially when I saw him plus 105 at a plus 105 underdog, there was value there because if he didn't get knocked out, we knew he was going to take this fight over. Okay, I love Tai Tuivasa, but Tai Tuivasa has cardio issues. He's not the most professional fighter in that regard. Very fun fighter to watch, but if he didn't get that early knockout, we knew it was going to be trouble for him. Marcin Tybura, not a lot of people realize, man, he's been really winning a lot of fights ever since that knockout loss to Augusto Sakai. I mean, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 10 fights, with the only 2 losses coming by way of Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov. 2 of the best in the division, okay? So put some respect on his name. Understand, like we talked about, that even though he's a little bit up there in age, it's the heavyweight division and you can get away with it. The fight that I would like to see him partake in next is a fight against Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida, what was definitely fraud checked in his last fight, but he still has a lot of respect in the division. And I think that's a fight that would be fun to see. I want to see Almeida versus Tybura. It makes a lot of sense when you take a look at the top of the division. There's not too many ways you can go. I mean, that's a fight that I would like to see. Let me know if you think there's a fight that makes more sense in the division. I would like to hear your thoughts there. Excuse me, guys, my voice. I just recorded UFC Vegas 89, and for those of you guys that know, I've been under the weather, so bear with me here. Hopefully you don't mind the nice, deep, scratchy voice here. Sound like one of those jazz radio hosts as we slide over to the co-main event, and we talk about my boy, Bryan Battle, who gets the W over Angelusa, whoops him up. You guys know that's really what we just witnessed. Angelusa took the weak route out. How about my boy Bryan Battle sharing the post on his IG? Sharing the post there. That was pretty cool of him. For those of you guys that don't know, man, I was a fan of Bryan Battles. As soon as the Ultimate Fighter season started, I picked him as my dark horse, and he kind of knew that. I talked to him a little bit on IG, and he actually caught one of my YouTube videos. So he knows I've been rocking with him for a long time, and he has more than delivered. So it's really fun to watch all this because he's really thrived so far in his young career, and he's really starting to push his way towards the top of this division, man. Angelusa did get poked in the eye, but we saw it as soon as he went to the corner. He was looking for a way out of this fight. It was obvious. For any of you guys that are saying, well, don't poke him in the eye then. I mean, listen, that's just kind of a lame statement, man. At the end of the day, man, these guys are fighters, so don't hold them to a low level. Don't just say, you could never have done that. No. These are UFC fighters. They need to be warriors out there. His eye was fine. You saw it. I mean, he was trying to charge Bryan Battle when they had the little skirmish, and he was saying, I'm going to kill you, this and that. Oh, so all of a sudden you have that type of energy. And just as I said in my tweet, the UFC will hold Angelusa responsible for that. Even though he thinks he dodged an L, he's going to be paying for that in a worse way, because as soon as he takes another L, the UFC will be quick to part ways with him. And they won't give him a co-main event spot like they just did there. Mark my words on that. Bryan Battle is hitting on all cylinders right now. He's dangerous. He's huge for this division. And he's going to start to get some big fights. He was ranked the 33rd fighter in this division. I expect that to be changed here on Tapology, but I'm jumping towards the top of this division. You could either match him up with Max Griffin, who's coming off a victory over Jeremiah Wells, and they remind me of each other in certain ways. They're both long and rangy for the division, but Max Griffin, an older fighter, Bryan Battle has a higher ceiling and a much brighter road ahead of him right now. Michael Morales is a stud up and comer too. You could match him up with Morales, but I actually would like to see Neil Magny and my boy Bryan Battle square off. Magny coming off a huge victory. I think my boy Bryan Battle deserves to get a veteran like that. I would love to see that fight. I also talked about Magny versus Dalby, but I would like to see Magny and Battle square off, where I do believe Battle will get the better of him and continue to keep that ball rolling down the hill. OSP with the split decision victory over Kennedy and Cheku. I mean, that was crazy. OSP, a huge underdog. He's way up there in age. He kept the fight close, and he still wants to fight. I mean, who can we give OSP? All right, this one I'm going to do live with you guys here. The other ones I kind of had pre-planned, but you know what? Let's do this live right now. Who should OSP fight next? He's been taking his fair share of L's. Marcin Prachnio has been looking pretty good as of recently. He's right next to him. I think that's a fight that makes a lot of sense. Marcin Prachnio has been looking better and better, coming off a victory. Throw him in there with OSP. I mean, what are you going to do with OSP? You're not going to throw him to the top of the division. I mean, you don't want to match him up with some of these killers up at the top, because I think they will take advantage of his age and whatnot. So, yeah, that's a fight that makes a lot of sense, actually. Throw him in there with Marcin Prachnio, and let's see how that plays out. All right, let's talk about my boy C-Rod, who you guys know I did have an official play on C-Rod. I know a lot of you guys are going to be flipping out. Had 2.5 units on C-Rod to get the job done. Caught him as high as a plus 165 favorite. At the end of the day, the value was there. Whether or not you want to say he should have won or lost, that's one thing. You guys know I keep it real with you. I think this fight should have went to a draw. I think Christian Rodriguez had the 10-8 in that third round. And I don't think that Bulgarian had a 10-8 in that first round. All right, because he was using his wrestling. He was getting takedowns. But no, as you guys see, the judges aren't scoring those wrestling. They're not scoring the wrestling the same as damage. Okay, C-Rod was inflicting damage on that winded Bulgarian late in that fight. That was a 10-8. He landed a lot of strikes. The first round was not a 10-8. So I did have this fight as a draw. I don't know how C-Rod pulled the second round off. I understand they're trying to say he landed more damaging shots or whatnot, and they're not scoring the wrestling. I'll take it, and felt great to cash in there. Now, remember, this fight was actually in the featherweight division, which seems to be C-Rod's new home. He's not really ranked that high right now because he doesn't have a lot of fights in this division. The fight that I would like to see next, okay, Muhammad Naimov is a fight that makes sense for me. Not a lot of big names because he has to prove himself in this division, and that's just kind of the openings that are there. Or a fight that I think actually makes more sense, a fight that I'm more excited for, would be against Andre Fili. I know Fili's coming off a TKO loss against Dan Ige. He still has the name in the game. He has his W's as of recently as well. Some people want to argue C-Rod's coming off a loss anyway, so kind of two fighters coming off losses, if you will. Should have been a draw. But I would like to see C-Rod get a big name fighter. I think he deserves it. I think that C-Rod deserves to have an opportunity to make himself a name in the game. I love it. Training under Rufus. He's the protege of Anthony Pettis and all them, and he fights just like Pettis. Well, he's well-rounded. He's so mature for his age. And I would love to see him versus Andre Fili. That'd be a fight I'd be very excited for. So that's the fight I would like to see next for C-Rod. Let me know what you think about that. Macy Chiasson. You guys, I was gonna go with a big old two-team parlay of Macy Chiasson and Gerald Meerschaert, and I didn't. And it is what it is. But Macy Chiasson versus Ketlin Vieira is a fight that makes a lot of sense to me. Both fighters coming off victories over Pandy Kianzad. This division, is pretty shallow. We need some of these other fighters to work their way towards the top. Rocky's the champ. I would like to see Rocky versus Irene Aldana next. So why not throw Ketlin Vieira and Macy Chiasson in there together? What do you guys think about that? All right. And then we had Gerald Meerschaert, who I just said, I wish I threw him in that parlay, but I didn't. Gerald Meerschaert looked great out there, fought in a very intelligent fight using his grappling to get the job done over Brian Barberena. I have a fight for Gerald that makes a lot of sense. You guys, let me know what you think about this. I think that Gerald Meerschaert should be taking on Andre Muniz. Two phenomenal BJJ players. I think it would be fun to watch the transitions down on the mat. And two big names in the game. That's a fight I think makes a lot of sense. What do you guys think about that? Gerald Meerschaert versus Andre Muniz. All right. And then, all right, so that's all we're going to be doing for the matchmaking. But let's go over some bets that we targeted and some performances by these fighters. Mike Davis looked phenomenal. Okay. Went out there, almost finished Natan Levy in the first round. You guys know we interviewed Mike Davis here years ago. And his post-fight speech went just how it went when I talked to him. This guy doesn't have that real sense of urgency to make a run at the belt. He's not really a fighter at heart. He's just a phenomenal fighter. He has the ability, if you know what I'm saying. He has the athleticism and all that, and he's a student of the game, very intelligent dude. But 4-fight winning streak now, and Mike Davis is really doing his thing. We did target Josiane Nunez over Chelsea Chandler. This was very frustrating because Nunez really getting the better of all those striking exchanges, dominates the third round, just couldn't handle that first round. It was so close, but she was taken down at times. I had 3.5 units on her, and that was tough to watch there. Jafel Filio goes out there, outclasses Ode Osborne. Filio, another great addition to the flyweight division. He is legit, and we'll see how far he can push it. How about this one? All right, and if you guys don't know, man, they're calling me Teller the Dog Hunter, a.k.a. the Bounty Hunter out here, as we just keep targeting these dogs, right? Even the free plays we've given, right? We had Ilya Taporia, Michael Venom Page. I just cashed on 2 huge dogs on this card. Well, this was the other dog that I cashed on besides C-Rod. It was Danny Silva, who I thought definitely deserved to win this fight with the pressure and the damage he was inflicting, the takedowns. Close fight, but I thought he definitely deserved to win 2 of these 3 rounds. And he's an absolute junkyard dog. I really enjoy watching this dude Danny Silva fight. So we cashed in there and caught him as high as plus 165. And I did throw on Danny Silva. I did throw 2 units at him there, so it was a nice little cash. Then we lost a small play, 1.5 units on Corey McKenna. She did exactly what I didn't want her to do. Don't go down to the mat early in this fight. Let the fight progress where you could take it over. You could be nice and sweaty, slip out of submission attempts and whatnot. And she goes down to the mat. Horrible fight IQ there, and a little surprised, even though she's a young fighter, she's been involved in MMA from a very young age. Big mistake there. And Amarim, we know she's nasty in the mat. Let's see how she looks late in fights, though. We'll test her down the line depending on the matchup. Thiago Moises finishes Mitch Ramirez in the 3rd round. Been chatting it up with Mitch Ramirez a little bit earlier today on IG. The dude's in great spirits. It's exactly what I told you it was. Mitch Ramirez gets a multi-fight contract, took this fight on short notice against a top-ranked fighter in the division. Give my boy Mitch Ramirez some respect. He's game, and the UFC better give him a more favorable matchup in his next fight and let him get the ball rolling. He's a tough dude, and Moises is a top fighter in the division, man. Come on. And then we did take an L here. This was a disappointing fight for me. Pampos Gregorio loses to Chad and Hellinger, and I thought that Gregorio, could have got the better of the striking. It was just a fighter that was more of in his physical prime. Chad looked horrible on tape in his last fight, his last couple fights. He obviously knew that he had his back up against the wall. I grabbed Gregorio at minus 155, threw 3 units on it, and obviously I was very disappointed in the performance there. And Gregorio, I do turn my back on him. Man. I'm not impressed with what I saw from him. And he's 31 years old. I think that, he had that nice little knockout over the youngster Smotherman, but I don't think he hangs around in the UFC. You guys know I give you the real deal here, right? Just because he's a fellow Greek and I've talked to him and whatnot. Nope. I think Gregorio won't be hanging around in the UFC for long. Was not impressed with his performance, to say the least, and I don't expect to see enough development in his game over the next couple of years to make him a fighter that hangs around in the UFC's killer bantamweight division. All right, guys, so that's how it went down for me over here. But with those dog hits, we take very slight losses in the card, under 2 units, so not really anything to talk about. I will capitalize on those losses and get that right back in the first play of UFC Vegas 89, and we'll make that a profitable card. So you guys know how we do it over here, and we're hitting on these dogs. All right, guys. So that's what time it is over here. All right. Much love and respect to you all. Make sure you guys check out my UFC Vegas 89 prediction video. I'll have that prop video coming out to you guys. And guys, you can expect all types of content coming out to you. Make sure you're following me on IG at MMA Fortune Teller _ on Twitter at the MMA Teller. Like, subscribe. Oh, I get to let my voice relax now. I need to go drink some nice cold iced tea and go watch this Players Championship and cash some money on some golf and some NCAA basketball, which we've been killing. All right, guys, signing out. Teller.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA Fortune Teller. Yeah.
The MMA Fortune Teller.
The teller.